位觀眾，大家好，歡迎收睇26分鐘見證實錄。咁從2021年嘅6月17號開始啊，卑詩省無障礙法就正式生效。隨住政府以及各界都致力改善社會上嘅無障礙環境，令到現時有好多殘障人士嘅生活獲得更便利嘅同時，更加係積極參與體育運動，並且取得出色嘅成績。咁究竟一啲殘障運動員喺體育生涯之中係點樣解決各種嘅挑戰，跨越屏障呢？對於無障礙嘅建設方面，佢哋又有啲乜嘢嘅建議呢？現時有越嚟越多嘅殘障人士跨越屏障，積極參與體育項目。但係最初佢哋喺運動嘅道路上亦遇到唔少嘅障礙，唔少運動場館設施並未能夠配合殘障人士嘅需要。因此，有啲殘障運動員積極參與其中解決問題，成為無障礙倡導者，希望提升殘障運動員嘅發展。
We originally got the government to change the building code so that the building code now has standards for disability access. So anybody that builds a new building has to not only, if they want to put stairs, they have to put a ramp in. And if they're going to have more than one story, they have to put an elevator in. That's all part of the building code. So yeah, it wasn't just me, but there was people who felt the same as I did.
除咗生活及運動場所嘅無障礙問題對殘障運動員造成影響，現時對於已經達到一定水準嘅運動員，喺資金上嘅補助以及支持亦都唔足夠，阻礙到佢哋嘅發展，亦都影響咗想進行運動項目人士嘅興趣。
呢度咧就要靠自己俾錢，自己去訓練，因為國家我哋個省所有啲嘢唔係好注重乒乓波，同埋佢淨係注重幾樣運動嘅啫，佢哋先會揼錢出去。而我哋嗰啲咁細嗰啲咧，佢哋係唔會揼錢，你就要貼埋錢出嚟去比賽㗎啦。所以我開頭去比賽嗰時，我係用好多錢嘅，因為佢話我哋分定唔夠，冇錢，成日都冇錢，你乜嘢都要自己俾錢。但係如果嗰個窮人嚟到呢度想去比賽，但佢冇錢，你就冇得去玩嘅。
社區有邊啲嘅資源能夠協助殘障運動員以及有意參與運動嘅殘障人士加入運動行列，並且提供支持呢？
For us, a parahockey sled is $700 to $800 a sled plus sticks. So you're looking closer to $900 to get into the sport, plus the hockey equipment. So you can roughly $1,000 a person. And so, but we don't expect somebody to pay that to try a sport. So we got obviously do the loan program.
近幾年，卑詩省府對於殘障運動員建立無障礙環境方面做咗啲乜嘢工作呢？
Nearly $900,000 in direct funding annually, and a variety of grants that are offered through via sport program for disabled sport organization, and that allows a vast of things to be offered by organizations. Some of the things that we've seen, for instance, are, as I said, the wheelchair sports, which there's basketball, tennis, and wheelchair rugby, among others.
現時已經退休嘅 Vince Millie 喺年輕嘅時候因為車禍導致脊髓損傷，腰以下無法活動。佢表示喺年輕嘅時候，佢從未諗過參與體育運動，直至2000年初退休之後，先至開始接觸冰壺項目，並且參與過多次省以及國家比賽，取得唔錯嘅成績。
We won a gold medal a couple of times at the nationals in Winnipeg, here in BC, where they had the nationals the same year that they had the Paralympics. So I couldn't even go and watch the Paralympic curling because they put on the Canadian National Wheelchair Championships at the same time in, I guess it was in Kelowna. So while the Paralympics were going on in Vancouver, the National Wheelchair Curling was going on in Kelowna. And that's where we won a gold medal. Yeah.
Vince 曾經喺 SCIBC 卑斯脊髓受傷者協會擔任近30年輔導員，去康復中心探望癱瘓嘅殘障人士，並且提供服務。Vince 自己嘅經歷以及工作接觸，令到佢成為一位無障礙倡導者。佢表示，相比過去，省內嘅無障礙出行等方面嘅條件已經好大改進。
When I first got injured, none of the buses were accessible. So there was no transit. We had to drive our own cars if we could. But there were some people that couldn't drive, so they had to depend on a specialized service just for disabled. But now, all the buses are accessible, taxis are accessible. That's something else that we fought for. British Columbia was the first province to require some wheelchair accessible taxis, and now they're in every province.
但係 Vince 表示，喺佢啱啱接觸冰壺嘅時候，喺體育以及娛樂設施方面就冇現時咁方便啦。
It was in the early 2000s, about 2003 or 2004. The first curling club I went to was in Marpole in South Vancouver, and it's an old club, and it wasn't very accessible, so they had to build a ramp to get in there. They had to make sure that there was a way for us to get onto the ice. But that's where I got interested, and that's where I first played.
成為冰壺運動員之後嘅 Vince 亦都一直關注殘障運動員面對嘅無障礙問題。喺呢幾年，佢同一啲同樣面對殘障嘅朋友一齊解決咗唔少嘅問題。
When we moved to Tsawwassen about 8 or 9 years ago, I wanted to, along with some friends, have a wheelchair curling team. So we went to the Tsawwassen Curling Club, and the getting onto the ice was pretty good. But after the game, we couldn't join the others upstairs where they had the lounge to have a soft drink or a beer or whatever. So we thought, well, gee, how come it's not accessible? It's in a community center, and if they made it accessible to get up to the lounge, then it would also be accessible for some of the meeting rooms up there to view the hockey rink. So we were told that the first people we should talk to is the Sports and Recreation Department of the city. So we asked if we could go to one of their meetings. We went to a meeting and we presented our, case to them. We said, "Come on, we need to have the community center and the curling club more accessible." And they said, "We are frankly a little bit embarrassed that it's not. So we will talk to City Council and we'll put it in the plans to make it a priority."
Vince 佢哋嘅問題最終得以解決，但係中間所等待嘅時間卻係需要極大嘅耐心。
Well, a priority for the city is 4 years, because it did take 4 years, but now it's great. It's accessible as this one. They got automatic door openers. They got an elevator. They got universal washrooms. So it's worked out really well. And I live close enough that I don't even have to drive to get there. I can just wheel over.
Vince 參與改變嘅另一個無障礙項目係 Orca Bay 體育場。
Orca Bay, we're building a new stadium. We're only going to put in very few wheelchair accessible seats, and they're only in one place. And I felt that they needed to put them around and make them available all the time. If somebody wanted to sit up in the cheaper seats, they should be able to buy tickets for that. If they wanted to pay more money and be down at the ice level, they should be able to have that option. So, but that was settled. It didn't go to the human rights. We agreed to make it right without it going through the whole legal process. So that was good.
How long did it take?
That one didn't take as long. I think within a couple years.
Vince 嘅退休生活睇嚟非常忙碌。
That's my retirement.
You have a super busy retirement. You have to be very patient.
Very patient, yes, yeah. But I hope that people who are younger that see that something's not right will also speak up.
Yes.
Because if they don't speak up and it's done wrong, it's not going to change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vince 舉例表示，對於殘障運動員嚟講，現時位於列治文地區嘅 OVO 體育館喺無障礙方面就做得非常之唔錯，令到運動員唔單止能夠方便到達，運動過程亦都非常便利。
Right across the street here, we've got the Olympic Oval, and that was designed to be fully accessible. You know, all the meeting rooms, all the change rooms, they've got a huge elevator where you can put the whole team in to go upstairs and downstairs. So yeah, a lot of the facilities that are being built now are being made very, very accessible.
Vince 一再強調，運動場所嘅無障礙條件對於殘障運動員以及對於運動有興趣嘅殘障人士嚟講係非常重要㗎。咁嗰啲希望嘗試體育項目嘅人士，唔再需要因為例如係更衣室同洗手間唔方便等等嘅問題而放棄體育運動。Vince 同時亦都提出一個新嘅關注。
For me, it's not so much making it accessible, but keeping it accessible. I keep thinking of places that have got a nice accessible washroom, but then after, let's say it's a restaurant, after it's opened up and the city has inspected it and said, oh yeah, everything's good, then they might change the use of the bathroom and use it as a storage room. You know, there are boxes of toilet paper, buckets and mops, you know, to wipe the floor. And so if someone goes to use it, they can't use it because it's not nice and open. It's got a lot of stuff in there that shouldn't be there.
作為一名冰壺運動員嘅 Vince，希望自己一直以嚟喺無障礙倡導工作方面所作出嘅努力，能夠為下一代帶嚟積極嘅影響。
So hopefully, you know, some of the work that people like myself did in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s is paying off now for younger people.
下一節翻嚟，我哋會聽下另一位運動員，佢對於各方喺無障礙方面嘅工作有啲乜嘢嘅感受。歡迎翻嚟節目時間。另一位曾經代表加拿大出征奧運嘅運動員，咁佢對於無障礙嘅議題上有啲乜嘢分享呢？政府喺殘障運動員無障礙方面又做咗啲乜嘢嘅工作？社會方面又有邊一啲嘅資源去幫助殘障運動員去發展體育項目呢？現年66歲嘅 Stephanie Chan 陳僭興，4歲嘅時候因為發燒冇得到即時治療，腿腳受到永久損傷。但係佢以積極樂觀嘅態度，從44歲起接觸乒乓球，59歲打入柏奧會並取得第4名。62歲擔任泛美殘障人士運動會加拿大隊旗手，仲當選成為首位登上列治文體育名人堂嘅華裔運動員。最初接觸到乒乓球嘅時候 ，Stephanie 並冇諗到佢會取得之後嘅成就。44歲先至開始接觸乒乓球嘅佢，當時對呢一項運動非常痴迷。
送完仔仔翻學，我就會去 YMCA 打乒乓波。12點半之後食完晏3點鐘就會湊仔仔放學，然後到夜晚食完晚飯，我又再去打乒乓波。所以人哋有時講笑，你有冇翻過屋企㗎？你由朝到晚都見到你喺度。咁我話我有啊，但係因為我真係好中意打乒乓波，因為我覺得我自己可以做到，同埋我嘅興趣係中意。喺2006年嗰時，加拿大溫哥華第一次有搞傷殘乒乓波，咁有人叫咗我出去比賽，咁我話我自己未比賽過嘅，咁佢話得㗎啦，你試下啦咁樣樣，咁好幸運地咁啊攞咗冠軍啦，就係同啲男仔一齊鬥得我一個女士，其他下問都係男仔，跟住佢就叫咗我去，佢話你贏咗呢個比賽，你可以出國比賽㗎啦。咁我就去咗拉斯維加斯，但係當我去到拉斯維加斯嗰時，見到好多傷殘朋友，但係佢哋係比我嚴重得多，但係佢哋打得好叻，我就好慚愧，我就覺得我好渣，我比佢哋唔係好嚴重，而係我打得唔叻，所以我就返香港上大陸去揾師傅教我打波。
Stephanie 表示，當時佢遇到嘅障礙係殘障乒乓球比賽一直被視為係較小眾運動，並冇獲得足夠重視。 原本佢並未獲邀請參與2007巴西帆尾賽，但係最終喺佢努力爭取之下，先至得到機會。但係佢卻係面對他人嘅不信任。
咁個教練就話：好啦，我就俾機會你去巴西打一個帆尾賽，2007年。咁佢就同我講話：我哋加拿大咧係冇女仔可以攞個獎牌嘅帆尾賽。如果你贏咗，我就剃光個頭。點知我嗰次係一攞到一個亞軍一個季軍，跟住佢就真係將啲頭髮剃咗。咁佢就歡迎你入我哋國家隊。咁我由2007年就開始，我自己知道如果入咗國家隊，我就有機會就去周圍比賽，係可以代表加拿大去。咁我就自己立下咗一個志願，就用10年時間要打入奧運。
2015年，58歲嘅 Stephanie 喺帆尾賽中獲得冠軍，獲得咗參加2016年奧運會嘅機會。
奧運咧係我自己嘅夢想嚟嘅 dream come true 啦，因為我夢想係要打入奧運噶嘛。但係咧係全場最老嘅一個，我嗰時係59歲，但係我覺得我已經可以入到去打奧運咧，我已經當自己贏咗嘅。但係我就自己同自己講，如果我攞到第4咧，我就當我自己攞咗個金牌㗎啦。因為我對手咧行慢都係30歲樓下嘅，我係59歲。
現時除咗自己平日訓練之外，佢仲一個星期3日到一間教堂免費教授長者打波，當中一啲患有柏金遜病嘅長者。佢亦都有一直鼓勵佢哋可以好似佢一樣參與自己喜愛嘅運動項目。佢話觀察到從自己1997年移民加國之後，本地喺基礎設施方面無障礙嘅工作做得越嚟越好。但係作為殘障運動員，而且已經代表加拿大參加多次比賽嘅級別較高運動員，資金補助及資源一直係阻礙到發展嘅因素之一。
呢度咧就要靠自己俾錢自己去訓練，因為國家我哋個省所有啲嘢唔係好注重乒乓波，同埋佢淨係注重幾樣運動嘅啫，佢哋先會揼錢出去。而我哋嗰啲咁細嗰啲咧，佢哋係唔會揼錢，你就要貼埋錢出嚟去比賽㗎啦。所以我開頭去比賽嗰時，我係用好多錢嘅，因為佢話我哋分定唔夠，冇錢，成日都冇錢，你乜嘢都要自己俾錢。但係如果嗰個窮人嚟到呢度想去比賽，但係佢冇錢，你就冇得去玩㗎。係啊，最唔好就係我就覺得佢哋呢度個分定太少啦，唔夠錢。不論你我自己打出咗個名堂，你都係要俾錢。佢成日都話我聽冇錢，你要去比賽你就自己俾錢。係啊，咁我就會覺得佢哋就應該要諗下，唔係游水，唔係曲棍，即係冰上嗰啲，佢哋就會抌多啲錢，而係乒乓波佢就抌得太少錢喺度啦。
佢表示，如果係參與奧運呢一類大賽，運動員係能夠獲得一啲嘅補助資源，但係進入奧運之前係需要好多嘅賽事經驗，並且取得極好嘅成績先至可以參加。但係呢啲賽事所需嘅經費以及聘請教練都係要由運動員自己解決，咁樣就阻礙咗一啲原本有潛質嘅運動員嘅體育發展。咁對於資金補助不足嘅問題 ，Vince 亦都有提及。
I agree. I agree. There needs to be more support financially. Yeah, because there's some sports that, don't need a lot of money, but there's other sports that need a lot of money to be able to compete. And sometimes the resources are there, but they're hard to find. You have to talk to somebody that knows where the money is so that you can apply.
對於 Vince 同 Stephanie 提到嘅呢一個問題，卑詩省無障礙事務議會秘書 Susie Chant 常翠安就作出咁樣嘅回應。
That's new information to me, and I'm not familiar with Stephanie's situation, but I'd certainly be interested in looking more into that, because that is new information to me. I mean, generally, Olympic athletes have sponsors. Of various kinds. So I know in other sports arenas, the athletes are sponsored and have somebody that helps defray costs. And I am not familiar with how that works within the athletes' world. So that's something I would have to learn more about.
Yeah.
That question and for bringing that forward. I appreciate that.
卑詩省府方面表示，近10年嚟，佢哋對於發展殘障人士體育項目非常重視。
We're also trying to, incorporate it so that accessible sports are part of the normal of sports that is available throughout our province. I also was a volunteer at the 2010 Olympics, which was one of the first times that the Paralympics were treated with the same value and importance and financial support as the regular Olympics. And British Columbia and Vancouver got an awful lot of those for the work that they did in 2010 to make the Paralympics really a really good event.
佢指出，現時政府喺無障礙設施方面，對於運動員付出嘅工作效果顯著。殘障運動員以及非專業殘障體育愛好者都認為，現時嘅運動設施已經係相當完善，而政府現時希望喺交通方面為殘障人士提供更好嘅條件。
I think there's always improvement needed. It doesn't matter which way we look at it. There's always things we can do better. In terms, one of the big things, transporting around the province. Right, it's very difficult for an athlete, for instance, who wants to go to a ski hill to get to, if they don't drive themselves or don't have a transportation to get there and get their equipment there.
而省府對於社區嗰啲為殘障運動人士提供資源嘅組織協會，亦都非常重視。
Nearly $900,000 in direct funding annually, and a variety of grants that are offered through via sport program for disabled sport organizations, and that allows a vast of things to be offered by organizations. Some of the things I've seen, for instance, are, as I said, the wheelchair sports, which there's basketball, tennis, and wheelchair rugby, among others.
Sportability CP Sports of BC 卑詩殘障運動協會係一間非牟利由義工組成嘅協會，宗旨係為殘障運動愛好者以至國際水準嘅殘障運動員打造安全有趣嘅運動環境。該協會分別提供雪橇曲棍球、硬地滾球以及殘障足球，從休閒以至競技級別嘅培訓。協會行政總裁 Ross McDonald 表示，協會幫助唔少人達成願望，幫助佢哋成為具有國際水準嘅運動員。
So somebody enters a sport, whether an official or an athlete, and they can see the pathway for progression all the way to a international level. So, and we try to work with our national associations in order to have these opportunities. And we've had some people that, fortunately for them and great for us, that they've progressed to a higher level and are representing their country and their province at the same time.
對於啱啱接觸運動項目嘅愛好者 ，Ross 就表示，有啲項目所需嘅裝備資金非常高，對於想嘗試體育項目嘅殘障人士嚟講，耗資購買運動裝備非常唔值得。因此協會推出借貸計劃，每年收取100蚊，即係大約每個月8蚊，就俾佢哋可以進行租借。
For us, a parahockey sled is $700 to $800 a sled plus sticks. So you're looking closer to $900 to get into the sport, plus the hockey equipment. So you can roughly $1,000 a person, and so but we don't expect somebody to pay that to try a sport. So we got obviously do the loan program.
Ross 亦都表示，協會非常熱衷為殘障運動員提供良好嘅空間及資源，但佢哋現時面對最大嘅挑戰，亦都係財政方面嘅支持。雖然省府每年都會為佢哋提供補助金，但係佢哋需要更多穩定嘅資金投入，先至能夠維持及發展。
We need more help, and not to say that we're not getting the help. We do get lots of help, but there's always more needed, especially consistent funding. A lot of our funding is grant-based, and there's no guarantees. But I have to say that we are grateful for the consistent funding that we get from provincial government through Via Sport, through community gaming grants, and other grant opportunities.
好啦，今集嘅節目時間呢又差唔多啦。咁如果觀眾對我哋嘅節目有啲乜嘢意見嘅話，係好歡迎大家以電郵嘅方式同我哋聯絡㗎。我哋嘅電郵地址係 mag26@fairchildtv.com。如果觀眾咧想上網重溫翻今集嘅節目，亦都可以上到去我哋嘅網站3w.fairchildtv.com， 點擊節目重溫一欄就可以睇得翻㗎啦。下星期同一時間再同大家見面，晚安。